Hi there, it's Dallas Travers. Welcome to another bonus episode as we prepare for the Permission Granted workshop. I've been thinking so much about where in my own life I need to give myself more permission, and this is definitely a theme I see inside of the Hive and inside of my broader community. So I'm so glad you're listening. This is the Six Figure Coach podcast. We are talking today about permission to change direction. Do you ever feel like you're a little all over the place in your business? Maybe you hear a special podcast episode talking about pop-up Facebook groups and you decide that's the missing link in your business. Or you see how popular Reels have become on Instagram, so you dive into a Reels course and try to convince yourself you enjoy dancing and pointing to the beat. Maybe it's been a while since you signed a new client, so you start to wonder if you even need to change your niche or your prices or your logo, all of these things that can be distracting. Perhaps you've been trying to take your business in a new direction, but all the moving parts makes it feel impossible. Plus, the pressure to make money right now keeps you serving the same audience, even though you have outgrown that audience. We've all been there. There are a million shoulds, right? A million reasons why we stay the course when in fact, it's possible that a change in direction is what's required. I got a direct message last week from a coach who complained. She said, Dallas, help, my business is brand new and I'm all over the place. So it's easy to feel that way, especially when your business is new, but I can feel that way whenever I'm trying something new in my business. But that chaos that we feel, it often comes from a place of fear instead of a place of inspiration. So I call this phenomenon, when we're motivated by the fear of missing out, the belief that the harder we work, the more control we have. I call that Busy Betty syndrome. We're actually not going to talk much about Busy Betty today, because instead I want to talk about when and why it's actually wise to change course. Because believe it or not, changing course, it's often a good thing. Starting over is sometimes the best thing that we can do, even when it makes you feel like you're a little bit all over the place for a while. So today, let's uncover the real motivation behind this feeling of being all over the place, so you know when it's a good thing that you feel that way, right? And when it's a good idea to change course, and when you might actually be motivated by fear. So this special episode is part of the Permission Granted series, as I mentioned. I just see so many coaches cobbling together a business strategy from a bunch of freebies that they collected on the internet. And I see others often applying tactics or strategies that don't align with their values, because, air quotes here, that's just how everybody does it. And it's my mission to put a stop to those things, which is why I really want you to join me for the Permission Granted workshop. It's a 3-hour class on Zoom. We're going to roll up our sleeves and create an actionable plan that starts with the inner work, the stuff that most programs skip, designed to help you cultivate self-trust and confidence so that you can really do business your way. Not because it's time to stop downloading freebies and listening to experts, but because it's time to realign with your gut. Your gut knows what it's doing, and sometimes we forget to listen. So from there, we're actually going to audit that massive to-do list of yours and give you a formula so that moving forward, when you change course or take on a new project, every single time you do, it aligns with your values instead of just some internet trend, right? And we'll wrap the workshop up learning the ripple effect system. I've even designed this really cool assessment to help you identify the best way to apply the system into your unique business. So I haven't seen any other workshops quite like this out there. And if you're a coach who wants to quiet the noise and chart your own path, Permission Granted is for you. So please press pause, go grab your spot now at permissiongrantedworkshop.com. I can't wait to see you there. All right, so let's take a look at the 2 main reasons why coaches change course. Like I said, the first one is rooted in fear or resistance or discomfort around uncertainty. A lot of times it's rooted in a lack of self-trust. This is natural. And yet we often beat ourselves up for essentially being human. As business owners, we need to be crystal clear about the motivation behind our decisions and behind our actions so that fear isn't running the show. So, yeah, we're going to be afraid, right? I feel like as an entrepreneur, if you're not afraid, sometimes you're not doing it right. But that fear cannot be in charge of making decisions. When that fear is in charge is when we fall into busy Betty syndrome. Instead, please pardon my corniness here, but instead I want you to be aligned Allison. Aligned Allison makes decisions from her values first. And I'm not talking about a list of company values that you wrote one day and you don't even know where the notebook is anymore. I'm talking about the values that lead your life. Those are the same things that live in your business. Aligned Allison lives in her values so firmly that every decision she makes comes from that place. We're going to talk about this more inside Permission Granted because it's just super essential if what you want is to be grounded in your own success path. So here's the interesting thing. When we really reconnect to our values, you will likely go through a phase of feeling all over the place because you have to undo a lot of things. You have to unlearn a lot of practices, which is essential for you to really have a values-driven business. That's fantastic. It's inconvenient and uncomfortable, but it's for a purpose that I think is greater than none other, really, living your values. So that kind of all over the placeness is completely worth it. Aligned Allison is completely unattached to perfectionism. She knows that the best way to find the right path is to actually get going down a path. This, because of the nature of our business, it happens in public. So course correction is basically a requirement. That's why this episode is called Permission to Change Course. I think a lot of us get so attached to, how we've always done things. We get so distracted by the heavy lift of doing things differently that we end up running a business that doesn't have any heart. So I will compromise sanity for heart any day of the week. It's okay if things feel chaotic as you're shifting gears. So this reminds me of a Hive member. Her name's Melissa. She's been on the podcast twice actually because I think it was episode 12 or 13. Melissa has felt called to completely change her niche. And she's felt called to do it for a while. And yet she hasn't given herself permission to do so for a whole host of reasons, right? She still likes the work that she does. And her list is all from that old niche. And starting from scratch feels really hard. And I have to make money this month. All of those things. And it's been really interesting to watch her journey of changing course because it's like a decision to change course and changing course and then falling back onto the old course and again she has shared this journey on the show here. But when you really give yourself permission to change course, you will find, especially when it's aligned with your values, doors fly open that you didn't even know were there. And that's what's happened to her most recently. On a call, I just really encouraged her to cut the cord, right? Give herself permission to do the thing. And she sent an email out to her list inviting people to become lifetime members of a program that she's been wanting to do for a while. And changing course just felt really hard. And right away, she got interest in the program. So when you're changing course to be more aligned with your values, that messiness, invite it in. When you're changing course because you're afraid that you're doing it wrong, it's like the same reasons that we don't change course, right? What if it doesn't work? What if I do it wrong? I don't know how to do this thing anymore. All of those same reasons either keep us stuck or keep us in this chaos cyclone. Okay, so here's how I distinguish fear motivation from aligned motivation. 4 questions to ask yourself. Number 1, am I looking outside of myself or am I looking within? If I'm looking outside of myself, I need to slow my roll and make sure that the timing is right, that I'm not just getting distracted by a bright, shiny object, that I'm not afraid, or I'm not trying to seek a deeper sense of control. If I'm looking within, the answer is often so super clear. Again, not always easy, but often super clear. Question number 2, do I have enough data to course correct in a grounded way? Inside the Hive, one of our mantras is data over drama, right? Shout out to Courtney Foster Donahue for that. Data over drama. So have I collected information so that I'm making an informed decision about the change I want to make? Instead of like, I should do a podcast. I should try this other thing. I should take this course. What about this? I'll never forget. There was one day I heard from 4 private clients with the same question. They said, I'm thinking about doing a pop-up Facebook group. Do you think I should do a pop-up Facebook group? And I thought, what's going on here? Someone just announced something about pop-up Facebook groups because everybody's talking about them. And sure enough, there were Jill Stanton was a guest on Amy Porterfield's podcast, which is a great podcast, and they were talking about pop-up Facebook groups. So now everybody's running to pop-up Facebook groups. Now, there's nothing right or wrong with a pop-up Facebook group. We actually have one for permission granted, but you have to look at your reasoning behind adding this extra thing on. Am I A, looking outside of myself or within? B, do I have enough data to make this kind of change? What's the point of making this change for me? Question number 3, what action most aligns with my values? Changing course or not? Question number 4, will changing course make me feel the way I want to feel? This year for me, it's been like, if I had to give this year a theme, the theme would be the year of breaking things. I have made a lot of changes in my business, and none of them were convenient. All of them were obvious, right? Simple, not easy. That might be a good distinction. When I answered these 4 questions. First of all, we just announced it a couple of weeks ago, but my signature program, the 6-Figure Coach Club, we changed the name to the Hive. That's a very big undertaking, and it's still in process, but the name 6-Figure Coach Club just didn't align any longer. So you know what's coming next, right? A name change to this show. Stay tuned. So asking those questions, right? Am I looking outside of myself or within? When I look outside of myself, there are a whole host of reasons to keep my program, the name, the 6-Figure Coach Club. When I look within and I look at the value of belonging, the 6-Figure Coach Club name does not resonate. I also closed down my 11,000 follower Instagram account and started from scratch. A lot of people think that was a bold move, and maybe it was, but the way I see it is it was just a values-aligned thing to do. That old account was built on, the priorities of that old account were vanity metrics, and so I was not experiencing belonging. So now I have this tiny little new account, and there's so much engagement and such a strong sense of belonging, it completely makes me feel the way I want to feel. It's Dallas Traver's Biz Mentor, by the way, if you want to follow along. We changed the model for how we enroll into the Hive. It used to just be rolling enrollment. And, there are reasons to keep that. But when I really look within, I want to personally talk to every single person who joins the program. I want people in the program who immediately feel like they're a part of a cohort. I want to enroll in the program through a special event rather than through some sort of hands-off automated funnel. So that again is a pretty inconvenient decision, but when I answer these 4 questions, it's an obvious decision to make. When I look back at any big change I've made in my business, anytime I've changed course, I had a nearly 7-figure business serving actors, and I just shut it down to go all in serving coaches. That was values aligned. My signature program before the club or before the Hive was Client Surge, and making that change was values aligned. Like, I make a lot of big changes in my business when I answer these questions. And aligned Allison, right, running a values aligned business, changing course is often a requirement because every day we get more information. Right? And every day there's an opportunity to lean further into the things that matter most. So if there is a change in your business that you've been thinking about and dragging your feet on, I want you to ask yourself these questions and see if that illuminates a clear path forward for you. Number 1, am I looking outside of myself or am I looking within? Number 2, do I have enough data to course correct in a grounded way? Number 3, what action most aligns with my values? And number 4, will changing course make me feel the way I want to feel? Okay, so during Permission Granted, we're going to do an actions audit where we will actually review your to-do list and your should-do list. We're going to stack those things up against your values and against the way you want to feel. From there, you're going to learn the ripple effect system so you know how to create a plan that aligns for you, even if it means changing course. If you answer those 4 questions, if there's an idea that you've had or a course correction you've been wanting to make, and you answer these questions, sometimes the next step will be to stay the course. And that's also okay because you realize, my motivation was outside of me rather than inside of me. So be sure to reserve your spot for the 3-hour Permission Granted workshop. You can do that at permissiongrantedworkshop.com. In the meantime, I just want to leave you with this. The actions that got you to this level are very likely the things that you must release in order to go further. So consider this your invitation, maybe your permission slip to course correct and to do so often. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you again soon.